It is January 6th when we are recording this. So when you hear it, it's going to be approximately a week later. But nonetheless, summer is on the brain. We are right
Bum,
around
bum,
the corner
bum.
from summer's kicking off, going crazy. And today we're going to talk about how you can, as a studio owner, set yourself up for a successful summer. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Well, if you're listening to this and you just know that it is summer is here basically today, and marketing for it has already begun. Definitely a little behind the eight ball in getting this podcast out to our listeners this time, but this will be good for next year. And it's just a very overwhelming time, and I don't want that to overwhelm you even more. Just know that you are not alone in the overwhelm of summer of what to offer, what to market. I would say the biggest things that we hear in terms of the woes and frustrations, like, I don't know what's going to hit this year. Last year was my camps. The year before it was my summer sessions. I don't know where to prioritize my time and efforts for next summer. That tends to be like a very common thing. And then always like being behind the eight ball and planning and getting your summer out as well.
Yeah. And that's a big one. All right. And I mean, because there's like, let's think about it. We've just come through the holidays. So a lot of people are still sort of, sliding in, sleeping off the eggnog from the last couple of weeks. And then you've got your winter sessions are starting, kids are coming back in, school's going back to session. You've got recital that's barreling down. So you're doing all of the contracts around your venue and making sure costumes are in and refitting because that kid is bigger than you thought, or that kid is smaller than you thought, or whatever. And so you're dealing with all of the recital. If you're a competition studio or you have comp team, then you are gearing up for that, which is a full-time job in and of itself.
Oh yeah.
And by the time you get through all of that, you kind of take that breath and go, we did it. And now it's June 15th and school's out and people are looking for things to do. And if you're at that
Yeah.
point, you are way too late. So Christians, it's not an exaggeration. By the time you hear this, we will have some of our clients, not all of them, but some of our client campaigns out in the world. And so we push this really, really early. We push it early all year long. There's reasons why. We'll probably talk about that today. But take a breath. It's going to be okay.
It's going to be
It's
okay.
going to be, by the way, for us too, it's going to be okay. All right. So realistically, we've already talked about the first one. How can you set yourself up for a successful summer? Number one, start now. Like early wins. I remember the first time we did this, we had a client, Jenny, that we did this with, and summers had always been really rocky for her. I mean,
Yeah.
she had like 30, 40 kids in a program, and we were still really new to the dance world. We didn't know it yet. We didn't know the flow or the cadence. We didn't have any of the data that we have now.
Right.
And I remember we turned on those campaigns in January. And do you remember, I mean, Christian, I'd love to hear your perspective. Did you feel crazy turning them on in January? Like I felt crazy turning them on in January?
It was the earliest that we had ever launched a dance studio for summer. So as a newbie back then, I was like, okay, I hope this works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did work, by the way. Like, spoiler alert, Jenny went on to have the most successful summer that she had had in 33 years, I think. And I stopped counting, but at some point she topped out at like something like 171 dancers in her summer program.
Yeah.
So absolutely successful. Our lesson and takeaway was start sooner than you think you should.
Yeah. And let me add some more color there, because that was actually, we were able to accomplish that for her second summer. The first summer, I would call it research. It was very much of a research, because she's one of those studios that you may relate when you hear of, I'm going to offer a few little sessions here. I'm going to offer a sprinkling of my mini camps throughout here. And it was very much of a big unknown on what's going to fill up the most. And after the first year together, we realized, well, the summer sessions did better than the mini camps. And so going into year 2 together, we were like, all right, well, we know last year, let's not even put any effort, marketing budget, or energy into mini camps, and let's go all in on your summer sessions. And that focused, data-backed decision on what worked well last year helped get to that biggest summer enrollment ever in the history of our studio. Um, and so that was just kind of a good learning lesson. So that taking an audit and inventory of what you did last year and measuring what you did is going to help you go into the next year. So I guess really first tip, if this year you're in that bucket of I don't know what's going to hit, what's not going to hit, go broad, market it all, but measure everything and keep track of what works. So that way next summer you have all the information you need to make a good decision for your business.
I forgot all about that. That's really, really good. That's really good. Okay. So start early, do more of what works. So if you know that your summer session works better than mini camps, then go hard on the summer session. If you're in the reverse case, and we've seen this too, where people like in maybe more urban areas or areas where both parents are working, the full day summer camps really pop off more than the evening stuff does.
Yeah.
And that's fine too. Like go hard on that. But ultimately it's going to come, mileage will vary and it's going to come down to what works for you in your studio with your parents.
Yeah.
And knowing what that is, if you don't know, go broad.
Yeah.
Really, really good advice.
Yeah. So word of caution for everyone too. Like we always say this at DMM is just know your area, know your market. You're gonna, there's a lot of chatter in the Facebook groups, on webinars, on this podcast. You're gonna hear ideas, but remember, don't just go ahead and copy it and run with it. You gotta know your area because before Christmas or holiday break, was talking with some clients and they're like, I need help. I need your help, Kristian, because my area is all the kids go to sleepaway camps. They're gone all summer. And so it may not make sense to offer a camp where kids aren't leaving for camps. So you may be better off offering something else during that summer. So just know your area. You don't want to just see someone saying, wow, look what they did with summer camps and go and run it before you realize, wait, I shouldn't have done that because my area leaves the state for camp or whatever it is that happens. So
Really, really good. Yeah. We talk about this a lot. I feel like on this show is like, we're going to give you ideas by listening to this. Hopefully you're coming away going, oh, maybe I should try that. But that's the operative word is try that. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees even year to year. Something that worked really great last year may not work really great next year. And so there's always a level and this I think is kind of at least the second point that I wanted to bring up is get curious. There's always this idea of testing in marketing and offers, what you're putting out there into the world is a type of marketing. It's a way to attract or repel parents into your world, into your community. And so just because you've always done a summer intensive doesn't mean that you should do a summer intensive this time around. However, if that's your cash cow, then definitely run a summer intensive and maybe get curious with something else, a 2-day, a weekend, a day camp, a half-day camp, trying different things to figure out what's going to work because buyers change. And every studio owner I talk to goes, man, parents today are not looking for what they were looking for 10 years ago. And we know that's true. And so getting curious with your offers, trying a few new things, I think in a lot of ways, summer can be kind of a blank palette or a blank canvas to try a whole bunch and carry on what works into the school year if it makes sense. So get curious, stay curious.
Let's just touch on the intensives for those of you listening. There's this term that we kind of talk among that team. It's called like what's your guaranteed income for the summer? For many, it is the intensives and having required training for your higher level dancers that they need to continue through the summer. That is going to be a really great source of guaranteed revenue for the summer. Those aren't the things that we recommend promoting publicly. It's not going to be worth your ad spend to promote your summer set, your intensives, your master classes, because the market for experienced dancers is small. You're going to get the studio hoppers. Maybe they come in and check out a master class for a little bit, then they go back to their studio for the regular season. So it's just not worth the return on your ad spend on those for marketing. And so definitely recommend summer sessions, the camps to attract new students in during the summer. Just save your money for that, for marketing, and keep your intensives and master classes for that guaranteed revenue from your existing customer base. Plus, that may be, you may like let your existing customer base sell from inside your studio, let the word of mouth worry about that, but don't add additional paid marketing behind those specific programs.
Dude, that's good. Really good. Really good. Okay, so let's talk nuts and bolts. For those who, let's say they're ready today, they know their offer. So, hey, I'm doing a Moana 2 camp, or I'm doing, I don't even know what else Disney's putting out these days, but they're doing another camp. They're doing the camp. They know their schedule. They've got teachers lined up. They're ready to go. How recommendations, Kristian, because you're so much closer to this than I am, recommendations on how to actually start getting the word out, because it's January and things aren't starting till June. How do we get parents who are interested today to take action so that their kid shows up in June?
Yeah. This is going by phase. I think the first phase to start early is your pre-promotional phase, where you just start advertising your summer programs, you're announcing them. Many studios do offer some kind of an early bird savings. That's a very common thing that we see when it comes to summer programs, is sign up early, like rewarding people for signing up early. So you can have a little deal that I would say on the far end, you don't want to let that go beyond March or April timeframe here. Like make early bird really
Early
early
bird.
bird.
Yeah.
So that's really probably my biggest recommendation there, is to get the word out, bundle it with an early bird special, so that way you can give parents a reward for committing to you and your program early before someone else. So that would be my recommendation first. Announce your programs, let people know what it is you're offering, give them the menu, so to speak, and then have a temporary early bird special that can expire before a certain date.
Okay, so we've got that. We've got early bird. We're doing the organic thing. We're, maybe posting it organically on social. Again, there's no paid ads necessarily behind it at this point. The big beautiful thing about early bird and discounted, like fast action bonuses, is that it gives you an opportunity to see what organically your market wants. And so it's a great way that you can kind of toe the water. You can test the water. It's out there. People are signing up for it. And you know how much space you have before you even put your ads out there. And that brings us to the second point, is once you know, okay, I still need to advertise, I have gaps, I have openings, then we're going to turn on ads.
So you can advertise the pre-promotion phase and the early bird specials as well. And then by the time that you are switch that off and you go to full price, you'll at that point you'll be able to double down on what's working as well. So kind of the advantage of launching in January, February is you get to kind of see what people are responding to. Are they asking more about camps? Are they asking more about summer sessions? And that way in March and April and May, you lean towards what people want more. And that may mean closing the doors on some of those camps or programs that aren't really in demand. You got to go with the demand of what the people are looking for in your area. Bottom line.
Another hidden benefit of starting this early in the year, truthfully, is that you're going to attract those planner
Oh
parents,
yeah.
the ones that they're looking today at their calendar, and like January's rolled around and they're going, okay, great. We're taking our summer vacation July 17th or whatever. Like they're planning now. And the benefit of that is those are the parents that tend to be the least headachy, if you know what I mean. They pay their bill on time. They show up when they say they're going to. They tend to be most committed. They're going to figure out their own problems. They're drama free, right? Versus if you wait until May to start putting this out there, who's left in the marketplace? It's going to be all of those parents that do not have their acts together. They're the ones that never pay their bills. They create drama. They don't read emails, right? And so there's a massive benefit to being early to market in terms of who you tend to attract as well. And I don't think a lot of studio owners realize that. The benefit that comes from having just a group of really great customers rather than a group of headaches that you have to
Right.
manage and maintain.
Yeah. Yeah. Spot on. Get the early planners, because they'll be signed up for something. And if you're late to announce what you have to offer, you may just kind of get what we call like the leftovers in the marketplace.
Nobody wants leftovers. Yeah. All right. Any other thoughts on this? I mean, as you know, for our listeners, we're not aiming for a certain amount of time. We just want these to be valuable. So if there's nothing else, we'll hang it up here. Any other thoughts, Kristian, from your perspective on what studios can be doing today to really be getting the word out to start filling up their summer programs? Because again, it feels like June is that far away, but it's not when you think about how many actual work hours you have between recital and competition and all the spring things. Holy smokes, it's right there on our doorstep.
So this may not be a marketing piece of advice per se, but it is more of a CEO and leadership piece of advice. In an attribute of clients that we see that grow well into the summer and they grow their summer programs in the winter, spring, are the ones who have the time and energy to put into their growth. And more, we're seeing our clients where they're like, man, I want someone to be my art director, take care of costumes, the recital, so that way I can focus on continuing to grow the business. And so a lot of reasons, it may not be for lack of marketing, it may not be for lack of effort, but it's just where you're prioritizing and where your time is being drained as a business owner. If you're still juggling the hat of, I got to do the costumes, I got to do the recital and the growth, we usually see the growth of your next season fall to the wayside because the more important and urgent things,
Yeah.
not important, are around the recital. So just think about what you can do to empower someone on a team to kind of spearhead it, lead that project. So that way you have more time and energy to dedicate to having a really great summer enrollment. So that would be my consideration for anyone where you feel like you've got the marketing down, you've got your programs down, but the growth isn't happening. It could be a time and energy question on getting sucked into things that maybe don't serve the business long term.
So that one's that is a honey pot where we could go endlessly deep on it. That is profound. It's one of those things that I hadn't considered regarding summer, to be honest with you, because that's always our position is definitely need to be focused on the growth of the business. Everything else, and this is crazy, and I've offended people in the past when I've said this, but the most important thing in your studio is not the recital. I know it's important for the kids. It's important that it goes well. It's important that the costumes are in, and like definitely somebody should be watching that. But the most important thing is not your recital, and it's not where you place in competition. It is how many new people are walking through your front door. And that's a little bit offensive because again, most dance studio owners got into the business because they like dance and they love the artistry of it and they love the music and the flow and the performance aspect and all of that's admirable. There is a day, and this will be a whole different episode on its own, is making that mental switch from the artist owner to the entrepreneur. In summer, and by the way, I just want to make one more point on this. Every single summer, July, August, early September, I talk to dance studio owners that cannot take the appropriate steps to grow their business in July, August, September, in those high enrollment months because they didn't have a robust summer program. And so not filling your summer actually isn't just like, oh man, this summer's going to be tight. It actually is going to set you back an entire calendar year. Because there are studios that are filling their summer now. They're going to have the kids, they're going to have the revenue. And so when it comes time to start running ads in July to fill September and October, they have the money to spend on it. And every year it's heartbreaking. I talked to a whole bunch of studio owners who are like, oh man, this is exactly what I need, but I'm broke. I have no money because my summer program didn't take off.
Drained you.
And that puts them an entire year behind. That means somebody else has a whole 12 months to enroll kids that could have come to your studio, but won't because they don't know you exist.
Yeah. It's a hard truth, but it happens. And I think we should get Liz on that podcast episode because she is one that of our clients that stands out where she delegated her recital responsibilities to someone else, and the outcome, we'll let her tell the
Spoiler
story,
alert.
but it allowed her to really focus on her summer growth, and get a little bit more
Yeah.
sleep during that time of year too, which matters a lot as a human and because this business should serve you and your personal
Yeah.
life. And yeah, I think that would be worthwhile to hear her perspective sometime on on a future episode on the artist owner transforming into the business owner as well.
That's really good. Okay. Well, as we put a bow on this episode, really, if nothing else, I hope that you take away that now is the time, and it is not the time to slow down. It is not the time to get into the weeds with sequinning and costumes or whatever. It is time to grow your business because the stakes are extremely high. Summer is one of those milestones where either it makes you or breaks you. And I'm convinced, and I will not be not convinced, like I'm absolutely convinced that if you have a strong summer program, that becomes the measure of how your September, October goes. Like a strong summer is the indication. It tells me everything I need to know about how well a studio is doing. So we'll hang it up there, get after it, put that summer program out, start your pre-promotions, get it going, and we'll see you same time, same place next week. Have a great one.